Well, week one of classes is done. Go ahead and ask me how I'm feeling.
Hey, how you feeling?
Well, it's Friday. It's 1 p.m. and I've already done 4.5 hours of math, so that's how I'm doing. Abstract algebra is kicking my ass. Royally. I'm only 2 classes in. I only have that class. Both my math classes are only 2 days a week, and I have Fridays off. And it's kicking my butt seriously. And like my professor's teaching style is very like he tends to gloss over things, and he doesn't do examples out of the book or from elsewhere. He talks about concepts and more or less expects you to be able to extrapolate that and use it for a problem, which is obviously difficult, and it's kind of like a different mode of thinking. Obviously, as Rob just jumped in head first, and a lot of this stuff I'm seeing for the first time, and it's stuff that he seems to think we should already know or be reasonably familiar with, which is not the case for me. I feel like some of the stuff he expected us to learn in Intro to Abstract Math, I didn't get, mainly in regards to introductory number theory like countability. Yeah, if this isn't the death of me, then I might be invincible. Like so much of this stuff, almost all of it, I'm basically having to learn myself because he might give the definition of something like a homomorphism or an isomorphism. He might write the definition on the board and that's it. He's not going to talk about what it means, its significance. He expects us to read the textbook, which is precisely as dry as you would imagine, and be able to do it ourselves, in which case I'm taking an online class in person. I don't see any functional difference. So I'm probably going to be spending a lot of time in office hours because there's already stuff on this homework. I mean, I'm 6 hours into this homework, which has 12, 15 questions, and I'm only 2/3 done. And even some of those answers I'm not, fully confident in. I feel like I'm way behind a curve I didn't know existed. In a similar but slightly unrelated note, this same professor forced us to introduce ourselves to each other because we're doing work in small groups. And this one guy introduced himself to me and he asked me what my major was, and I told him, and I asked him what his was. And he said, it was just, my major is just general math. It used to be applied math, but I didn't get a high enough score in diffie-q, differential equations, so I had to either retake it or change my major to general math. In my head, I'm like, I haven't seen my final grade for differential equations. So I got home and looked it up, and sure enough, I didn't meet the requirement. The requirement for the next class, which is Intro to PDEs, partial differential equations, requires a C or greater in differential equations, and I got a C minus. And that was kind of devastating at the time because I was like, damn, I was under the impression that GI Bill wouldn't pay for you to take a class again if you didn't fail it the first time. What I found out actually is that the GI Bill will only pay you to retake a class if you didn't meet a grade requirement. So if you needed a B in a class in order to move on to the next class in your degree sequence and you got a C, then you can retake it and get paid for it, and the GI Bill will pay your tuition for it. So it's looking like next semester I'm going to take it. I'm going to try and get a different professor because I wasn't crazy about the one I had, mainly because his accent is really heavy and it's very difficult to understand. But if I have to take it again with him, whatever, at least it'll be a full semester, not 6 weeks, which was brutal. I think diffie-q is definitely a course that should have a whole semester. It's so important to applied math, and I'm going to be spending a large portion of my weekend in this chair. This is going to be rough. If you're preparing to take abstract algebra, or if you at the very least know when you're going to have to take it, you need to make sure that you have a couple things down pat. One of which is linear algebra and operations on matrices, adding matrices, multiplying them by a constant, all the stuff. Be familiar with linear transformations because things which are very, very similar are going to come up in abstract algebra, like functions which sort of serve as linear transformations from one group to another. Definitely be solid in intro to number theory, so countability, sets, types of numbers, what types of numbers are subsets of other types. So naturals are a subset of integers, etc., etc. Yeah, and be prepared to devote a lot of time to that. There's a lot of complex number stuff, so if you can get really, really familiar with Euler's identity, that'd be great because it's going to come up all the time and it's going to be used for a lot of different stuff. And complex numbers in general, writing them in polar form. I can't really say a whole lot at this point because I'm 15 pages into the text in 1 week, but already that's what I'm seeing. My professor said on day one that my class is mainly going to be on set theory, or not set theory, group theory. Great, whatever. I'm fine with that. You gotta learn it at some point, but thrown into the deep end and hopefully I can make it out. Anyhow, just thought I would share that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.